Yes, guys, welcome to Chasing Green Arrows for the final time this season. It's me and it's Big Man back up. Big Man, how are you doing? How was your game week just gone? And what is going on with your 38 plans? Because I'm curious to know where you're ranked and what you're chasing.
Hello, Johnny. Hello, welcome to all the listeners and viewers. It was an all right week. I got 130 points. It could have been much better had Son converted from that Brennan assist and
Ooh.
had Guardiol not went on that run of his where he scored twice. I mean, it was it was very very annoying not owning Guardiol. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it
I mean,
was.
there's no sugarcoating it. Guardiol. I mean, he kind of ruined the week before it started. Even though
Yeah.
I ended up on a sizable score and was close to the safety score. But I mean, the game week was over before it started. I mean, what were the chances of Guardiol scoring twice? I
His
mean, had
his
that game been
ownership at
played
your
a
rank
thousand
must have
times,
been 50%, right? Like around 50. He was at 50%
yeah.
owned at my rank, so it's a real killer.
Not just him, Gusto as well. I mean, Gusto was a minute's risk at the start of the week. We didn't expect him to start the games, and the one time that he starts, he gets an assist, and then he gets taken off before the Chelsea clean sheet gets wiped. I mean, this is the game we play. So it was one of those weeks, but it's all right. I mean, I'm still 16K. I'm sort of content with how the season has gone. I'm hoping I can make some ground in the final week, but overall, it's been a good season. So I guess I'll just shut up about being annoyed about Guardiola and the threats to my ranks.
Hello everyone in the chat. We will be answering loads of questions today. Cam is with us, Kieran, FPL Discomfort, Offcore, FPL Mackham, Zayad. Thank you all for joining us. We've got loads to get through today. We're going to talk about 1 week punts. We're going to talk about our plans. We're going to see Big Man's team. We're going to be answering your questions. Big Man, before we get into the kind of the juicy bits of the show, at 16K in terms of state of play, I haven't even checked my rank. I think I'm 42. I'm 41 or 42K. Top 10K is out of sight for me. Even if I go really rogue, like I'm not making that up. Even with a Elise captaincy that hits a hat trick, I still can't see myself gaining that sort of rank for a top 10K. For you though, 16K to 10K is very achievable. I told you, I think it was the season before last, I was 16K going into the final day thinking I can get top 10K, and I went differential. I went gonna captain whoever, and I think I finished still on 16K because it's all so tight and so competitive. And we're talking about 16K to 10K. We're talking about 30-40% green arrow there. How are you playing this? Are you playing just for a good overall rank and therefore playing fairly safe as you've played most of the season works for you? Or do you go to get top 10K, I need to go Salah captain, or I need to go Son captain, or I need to captain an Arsenal mid, I need to back against Haaland? Are you likely to do that or not?
I mean, I checked. I'm 16 points off the top 10K. I think 16 points, especially with the template being so strong. I mean, a lot of engaged managers will be buying the likes of Saka or Salah this week. I don't see major rank change or major rank flux in that sense. I think because there's so many engaged managers now, it is very difficult to make up that kind of score in at this stage of the season. Maybe if I was chasing a mini league rival, I can then maybe take a calculated risk or so, captaining a player that he doesn't own. But in terms of overall rank, 16 points is a lot to gain. I am not necessarily entertaining or holding high hopes of doing it. So I guess I'll just play normally and I'll take whatever I get. If I finish, let's say 14, 13K, that's still good enough for me.
Yeah, okay. No, I hear you. Okay, interesting. We have got a poll out for captaincy. We'll address captaincy early in the show, and then we'll talk about all our 1 week punts. So let's go through these 4 big captaincy options this week. The vast majority are going to go Haaland. But for those chasing in mini leagues in particular, which is perhaps some managers that you might argue are slightly less engaged than those playing for overall rank, there will be some that go, to beat my mate, I have to back against the guy that's everyone's going to play and everyone's going to captain, and that will be Haaland, just like last week. So if we're backing against Haaland, who do we like out of the potential options? Salah, Arsenal midfielders. You could argue Elise, but we've listed Son here as an option too. Where do you sit on that? But before we talk about the options against Haaland, let's just talk about Haaland, because for me, it's a dangerous game. yes, you can back against players when you think someone else is going to get more points. But if you simply think Haaland is the best points this weekend, don't back against him. Where do you sit on that, big man?
Exactly. I mean, I don't necessarily hold any sort of or have any ideas of going for a differential captain. I mean, you look at this. I mean, forget about rank chasing and all. You look at this fixture in isolation. The bookmakers are projecting Man City to score the highest number of goals in a single fixture this season, right?
Yeah.
So the second on the list was Liverpool against Sheffield United early in the season. City are projected to score more than that, and that's 3.85 goals. And they're expecting City to score nearly 4 goals a game. Not captaining Haaland could potentially be, rank suicide at this
Yeah.
stage of the season. I know it works both ways, and if he sort of blanks, and if he doesn't do well, then it's extremely high risk and extremely high reward. But at this stage of the season, I don't think it's worth doing it. It's definitely not for me, because I'm sort of at that stage where even if I don't sort of captain Haaland and go with someone else, I still don't think I can make those 16 points up. So I might as well go with the optimal captaincy choice. And I think Haaland by far is the best choice this week, simply when you look at the numbers, because the numbers that are being projected from Manchester City are crazy. And Haaland is clearly the anytime goal scorer. I mean, there's only one way that City game is going, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be proper party mode as well. When they're 2-0 up, everyone's going to want to get in on the act. I think Pep, because it's the final day of the season and because Haaland is always achieving and trying to chase certain numbers, 30 goals in a season or whatever it might be, I think he'd be reluctant to sub him, and like he might get an 80-minute sub, but he's not coming off on the hour mark. There's nothing else to save his minutes for. And if they're 3-4 up and it's an hour played, Haaland could easily make it 4, 5, 6.
Exactly. He's not going to get taken off. Right?
Yeah. Well, maybe with 5 or 10 to go, but he's not missing a big chunk of minutes, is he?
Exactly. I don't even think he's going to miss that 5 or 10 minute chunk. I mean, there's nothing to rest him for. He's going to want to score as many goals as possible. However, let's say, now coming to the other side of the argument, let's say if someone is desperately chasing in a mini league and he wants to go different to Haaland, let's say, let's break it down. I think if anyone is chasing, let's say, a 10-point lead, I don't think that's significant enough. I think 10-point lead can be in a mini league. I mean, it can be covered through 2 or 3 differentials. All you need is, let's say, a Guardiola goal, or let's say a Saka brace, and you'll overcome that deficit, or a Brendan Johnson brace. I mean, I still have high hopes from him, right? I still rate him very, very highly as a differential. That is all you need, right? You don't have to go different for the captaincy. But if you are, let's say, chasing a bigger lead in your mini league, then you might as well go with a differential captain. I think the best one, apart from Haaland this week, is Salah. I don't think Salah's ownership would be high. Even when you look at his ownership in the game, it's 23% right now. And that includes a lot of teams which are not even active anymore, right? Yeah. So he is a proper differential, and I don't think many people will own him in the final week. And there's every chance that Liverpool do well as well. Klopp's last game, it's going to be a good atmosphere over there. I can see Liverpool winning. Wolves are practically on the beach as well. So that is one fixture where I can think that where I can sort of comprehend that Salah manages to outscore Haaland if he comes off. But apart from that, I don't think I'd risk anyone else other than Salah.
Yeah. Okay. So Salah, I'm at the moment 60-40 on Haaland, Salah, and I'm going to own both. We'll talk about the other ones. I've seen a lot saying Son. Look, Son against Sheffield United, sure, it's a good fixture, but the way Spurs are playing and the way Son's been playing, and look, Son just played Burnley at home. That was a better fixture, and he blanked in that. I don't see Son as a captaincy option this week. Not for me. If you're going to back against Haaland, you don't go Son, in my opinion.
I mean, he can do well, but I agree. I think Salah is a notch above Son.
And the Arsenal guys, and Elise for me. I'd rank Son below all of them.
I think Son is better than the Arsenal guys and better than Elise. I think Son is third in the pecking order.
Wow, you would have Son captain over Saka and Havertz?
Yes, I would.
Wow, okay.
I expect that game to be very, very high scoring because Sheffield United have nothing to play for. Remember, we had this conversation last week as well where I sort of specifically went with Johnson, not just for the Burnley fixture, but because of the Sheffield United fixture. And I genuinely think that could be like a 3-4 kind of game, because
Yeah.
both teams have little motivation to defend. They'll go out and play all out attacking football, and I expect goals in that fixture. And coming to goals, historically we've seen that game week 38 has been very, very high scoring. There are more goals scored as compared to the normal season average, and there are fewer clean sheets as compared to the usual clean sheet average. And this season in itself, we've already seen that this season has been extremely high scoring in general, right? And there have been fewer clean sheets than normal. So this sort of indicates that this trend could continue, and Game Week 38 again could be a very, very high scoring one.
Yeah, FPL Discomfort, who's in the chat. If you're not following FPL Discomfort on Twitter, then do. But he's put out some really good data in all week, but including amount of goals in Game Week 38 and some of the matchups. So make sure you're following FPL Discomfort on X. And you mentioned goals, big man. We've never seen so many goals in the Premier League. I think once in the early 90s there was more, but I think that will get beaten on the final day. And that was when there was 22 teams in the league. So literally, since it's been a 20-team league, we've never had so many goals. And that's why, in a way, defenders this year, we haven't been spending lots of money on them. Other than the Arsenal guys, it's been pretty flat. I'm expecting next season some big price reductions for defenders. And again, the attacking players will probably go up in price. So it'll be interesting to see the balance of our squads next year. Before we concentrate on Game Week 38, because this is our last show together of the season, what's your take on price points next year? What should FPL do? And guys, let us know your opinions in the chat. Like, do you think it's been made a little bit too easy this year? There's always going to be breakout players like Palmer or Gordon that are lowly priced that do go and do well. But for me, you want to put an extra million on a lot of the attacking players, so you can't have a team full of top 6 clubs represented in your 15. Like, I want to pick a Burnley player. I want to have a West Ham player in my team. I want to have some of those mid-table teams covered. And at the moment, this is maybe it's the last couple of seasons, it's a common trend, I don't know, but we're able to fill our 15 spots with all good players from good teams. And that just makes the game a little bit more templatey and boring for me.
I kind of agree. I think before the past 2 seasons that you mentioned, it was difficult to afford, let's say, a team from with players from the bigger clubs. But now, I don't think I've owned a Burnley player all season. I think I owned one Luton player this season, and that was because they had a double game week. Otherwise, I didn't feel the need to own anyone.
No Sheffield United.
Right? So, no Sheffield United at all, actually.
No,
maybe Archer at some point, I think. But apart from that, no one else really.
I've not even owned a West Ham player. I've not even owned Bowen, or I think I've had Mabama on my bench at some point. But even teams like West Ham, I've not covered this season.
Yeah, I had Bowen on the free hit, but apart from that, I had Bowen on the free hit. Apart from that, no other outfielders at all. But I completely agree with you in the sense that I think it needs to be made more challenging, because you don't really want a team where you can just afford a very strong 11 with, let's say, double Arsenal defense was like 5. Gabriel was 5 million. I mean, that was, even when the prices came out, I mean, we called it out that this pricing is extremely generous, and you don't exactly want that to happen. You want the game to be challenging, especially for the engaged managers, because this is where they sort of tend to earn their bucks, right? So that is one thing. But having said that, there will always be a Harry Kane at 4.5. There will always be a Dele Alli at 4.5 or a Cole Palmer at 4.5, which will emerge every season, which will basically break the game open. But having said that, at the start of the season, at least, I'd want the prices to be inflated to ensure that we don't exactly pick the team of our choice.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you there. Interesting to see your views in the chat. Sokan says, sadly, this game is about creating interest in the core product of Premier League football. Absolutely is. So a key part of the Premier League strategy to widen the game overseas. Pricing is too cheap and to create more interest for the casuals. Yeah, good point. What they did this year, which I liked last season, was they went and made the likes of Haaland and Salah really expensive. But because there were so many good value options like Palmer and Gordon, it didn't actually work out for them. But the strategy with going Haaland 14 million, Salah 13.5 million was meant to be, I think, so we can go and have mid-table team players in our team. Of course, sent us a super chat. Thank you so much. Says Big Man and Johnny's streams are really helpful because we talk about players, strategies, and other teams. Thanks for the hard work. Of course, thank you so much for all your support this season and for being one of our go-to mods. Chasers, do let us know your questions. We'll get to some later in the show. Let's continue talking then about strategy for game week 38. Big Man, things we need to address. We need to talk about Crystal Palace. We need to talk about benching dilemmas. We obviously have already touched on captaincy, but I also want to rank Arsenal midfielders. Shall we go there next? Because many are looking at Arsenal and many will only have a Gabriel, a Saliba or a Ben White in their team and go, do I need to cover this Arsenal attack? Because final day of the season, pressure's off because it's out of their hands. I'm expecting a big Arsenal scoreline. One issue with Arsenal is the spread of points, you could argue. Like they could go and win 3-0 and Salah and Havertz aren't guaranteed to be on the score sheet, but they are the two obvious names. Yes, Odegaard's been good. Yes, Trossard can pop up with a goal. Declan Rice, even if you've only got 5.5 or 6 million to spend. But for you, is it all about Havertz and Saka and how do you rank them?
Yeah, I mean, you want an Arsenal player this week. I mean, most people, I assume, will be buying either Salah or an Arsenal mid this week. I personally am looking at Saka over Havertz. You know, I've been a Saka fanboy over the course of the season. You've been in the other camp. We sort of had this discussion earlier, but I mean, just at the cost of repeating myself, I just think Saka has more routes to points. He's, penalties, set pieces, etc. We know how good Arsenal are at set pieces. So generally, I think Saka is slightly better, I would think, than Havertz. So if I'm picking one, I would rather go with Saka. But having said that, if you're chasing and your rival has Saka, you can go with Havertz. I don't think it's a huge difference between the two of them.
Yeah, interesting. I'm Havertz just in the last couple of months since we've seen him click at number 9. But yeah, there's little between it. And obviously Saka does come with penalty appeal. He's obviously a lot more expensive. He's about, I think, 1.4 million more. So if budget's tight, really don't feel like you need to be taking hits to get a Saka if you can just go straight to a Havertz. I guess for a hit, Big Man, you would go Havertz. If it meant hitting Saka in, you would go Havertz over Saka. He's not worth the extra 4 points. Yeah.
No, I don't think there's enough of a difference to justify a hit, especially at this stage of the season. I mean, I don't think you should be taking a hit right now because the chances of it paying off are next to minimal. I mean, the only scenario where I can see a hit paying off at this stage of the season is if, let's say, you get team leagues that some of your players are benched and then you sort of have to remove them. But even that sort of seems unlikely this season, Gianni, because, generally in Game Week 38, you look at, teams with little to play for and you think that rotation will be high. But I don't think it will happen this time. I think with most of our teams are filled with players from Spurs, Arsenal, City, Liverpool. I don't think these teams will rotate. Even Chelsea,
Newcastle. Yeah. Our teams don't have the players in our teams at the moment. All those clubs you just mentioned all have something to play for, and that's quite rare because usually we will have some mid-table team representation, and therefore you worry about rotation. I guess Liverpool is the one you could see some rotation. Like it's Klopp's last game, nothing to play for in terms of league position, but I would still go off the narrative of it's going to be a big scoreline to celebrate Klopp's final game. He's going to go to his trusted assets. The likes of Matip, for example, he's announced he's leaving in the summer. Does Matip start instead of Kwanzaa? Probably, but I don't think that influences FPL. Yeah,
I agree. I think the usual lineup should start. I mean, specifically from FPL, I think Trent should start. For FPL, Salah should start. Probably Hackpo will start after his performance against Aston Villa. These are the big guys you sort of want to be targeting.
Are there any players that if we get team leaks on and they're starting, you'd be looking at? Like we'll get Liverpool leaks. So Gakpo, Luis Diaz. I'm just thinking outside of Salah. Arsenal, Trossard, he'll start. Would you have any love for those sorts of assets? Because I don't mind a punt on a Trossard or a Gakpo, but I do prefer a Havertz and a Salah. Of course I do.
Potentially, but I think this week, especially in my case, my transfers are more or less set. I mean, I'm practically on the beach right now because I know what I'm going to do with my team. I don't see that changing. Yeah. It's very sort of unlikely that changes because I think, let's say, even if the likes of Trossard start, let's say, even if, Hackpo starts, you'd still want to prioritize the likes of Saka over them. So even if they start, it won't change much for me personally.
Yeah. One start that I think we will hear about, and Lewis has just mentioned him, is Nkunku. So Nkunku got 55 minutes in the week. He's now had 3 appearances off the bench. I would like to think Nkunku is going to start game week 38. Also because Mudryk went off injured. And that's why Nkunku came on in the first half. Nkunku came on, he scored a goal, looked quite sharp. He's looked sharp in training. He's now had 3 cameos off the bench. He is listed as a forward. If you've got a complete transfer to burn and no idea what you want to do and you own Jackson, for example, I'd be tempted to swap Jackson out from Nkunku. I think they'll both start. And Jackson, yes, might get 90 and Nkunku might not. But just for an explosive 1 week punt, I think Nkunku could be loads of fun. And I think he's under a percentage owned. So Nkunku would probably be my top differential pick this week, alongside one that everyone is talking about. Big man, we've got to talk about Crystal Palace. Michael Elise has got a lot of love from content creators, casuals, engaged managers. Of course he has. He's smashing it. He's a differential. He plays at Selhurst Park in what could be his last game in front of the home crowd. He's got the best points per game at home record this season of any player in FPL. I think it's around 11 points a game, which is mental, per 90. That's the other point. Aston Villa, nothing to play for. Champions League guaranteed. They've been at the pub all week. Have you seen the videos of the Villa players at the pub? I like Elise a lot this week.
Nothing to play for, and the fact that even in the Liverpool game, you could see that they were sort of tired. I mean, I don't think the defense will do that well. I can see Palace scoring at least a couple of goals. I like all 3, Eze, Elise, Mateta. I mean, just take your pick. I think I prefer Eze for the security of 90 minutes and penalties and set pieces, but Elise is perfectly fine as well. I mean, he sort of has that extra bit of goal threat from open play, but I would personally go with Eze, but even Elise is fine.
A few months, about a month ago, when we were looking at like Palace double game week, I remember saying I'd go Eze just, but the last month for me has just shown Elise in terms of shot volume, positioning on the pitch. I'd forget Pens and go Elise, but yeah, they can both very easily return. And Mateta's a great option too. He's just been crowned Palace Player of the Season. Mateta left out the France squad though, not too surprising that France squad was announced yesterday. Elise also didn't make the French squad. Again, no surprises there. Neither did Gusto.
I mean, the Mateta thing is actually quite surprising because I was just checking. He's only sort of started regularly playing after game week 18. He hasn't even played half the season, yet he's the player of the season. But I mean, that's the thing, right? So ever since the new managers come in, they're playing much better football. They're more confident. They're playing, a free-flowing brand of football. So I can see why that has happened. But this trio is really done well, and I can see them doing well in game week 38 as well. I won't have any Palace, and I'm kind of sort of worried about it.
Yeah, me too. One of my my plan at the start of the week was to bring Elise and Salah in for Bruno and Son. And I know that's really risky, and that's still an option I could go with, but it means benching, I think, both my Newcastle starters, Gordon and Isak. And the other option is to go, I still go Bruno to Salah, but I bring Isak down to an enabler who I bench, and then I start Gordon, and then I get to keep Son. And I think that's probably the route I'm going to go down. We'll talk more about my team later. But yeah, I really want Palace. And Glasner, by the way, who has only been in charge for like the last, third of the season, or maybe half of the season. I think it's third. He's been linked with Bayern Munich yesterday, which is unbelievable. He's only been in the Prem 2 minutes, but I think he said he's gonna stay. But yeah, unbelievable things at Palace. They are, in terms of the last 6 game weeks, the second highest scoring team in the league. They are averaging 3 goals a game.
We were just speaking about potential bargains for next season. I think Palace could be underpriced. Yeah, I don't think they will be that highly priced. I don't think they will be highly priced because over the course of the season, they haven't really delivered. But when you look at the last 10 game weeks under the new manager, their underlying data is much better as well. So, the likes of Eze, Elise, if these guys stay, Mateta even, they will be good enablers next season.
Yeah, and remember they play with wing backs. So if you get a Mitchell or a Munoz for a 4.5 again, which you might do because their scores haven't been sensational. Even Henderson in goals only played half a season. So again, he could be a 4.5
I think Henderson
keeper.
Could be 4.5. I think Henderson will be 4.5. And I mean, I really like the prospect of him being 4.5. Do you think Pickford will be 4.5 again, or will be?
No, Pickford will go up, but that's fine. Pickford will be 5. But that and again, like Tarkowski and Branthwaite might even be 5.
Johnny,
Everton will
did
be
you start with
expensive.
Pickford at the start of the season? I'm sort of, it's escaping
No,
my
I didn't.
memory.
I didn't. I think I had.
It was
I don't know who I had. Areola from day one, maybe. But yeah, I didn't have Pickford.
Flecken maybe.
No, Areola, I think. But I can't remember who my second
Yeah,
keeper was. I'm going to check now. Did you
yeah,
start?
because
You did start Pickford
no,
and scored
no,
him on while. Oh no, sorry. I started with Anana. I started
yeah,
with
no,
Anana.
that's
And then,
exactly.
like
I mean, this is
Pickford,
a popular
the
keeper.
Anana and Pickford sellers on wildcard, whenever that was, game week 10 or whenever it was, they both started picking up big points from then on.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I had Pickford from game week 1 till 10, and all I got was 1 clean sheet. And the guy has literally been smashing it ever since, even till, recently. Everton have been just racking up those clean sheets. I mean, people
Yeah.
who had Pickford on the free hit in 34, they got like a big score. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it was unfortunate the timing of his return. Now I don't think I'll be able to get him at 4.5, but let's see. Maybe if Reece James is, if Chelsea have a tough run of fixtures in game week 1, 2, 3, and then Reece James is likely available from game week 4, I might have Reece James on my bench. I mean, I had him this season, and I, obviously got injured right after, so that was frustrating.
Yeah, he's it'll be 5 million Reece James next year as well. Like, it's good value.
Yeah.
Gusto will be 4.5 or 5. Maybe you go both of them. And then you've always got Chelsea's right back because Gusto's proven to be a great FPL option too. I know last night or the other night people will say Gusto owners got lucky with his 60-minute sub, but if he stays on the pitch and Reece doesn't come on, there's a good chance Chelsea continue to keep a clean sheet. And Gusto actually, yes, he got 3 bonus and a clean sheet, but he also could have had attacking returns. He was brilliant. He had a shot from distance which either hit the bar or was tipped on just over the bar by the goalkeeper. I couldn't quite see. Okay.
I think
Go on.
the Liverpool defense will be sort of underpriced. Well, they'll all drop in value. I think Van Dijk could be close to 5.5.
Even Trent will have a big
5.5, I
deduction.
think.
Trent was 8.5 this year. He could be 7. He could be 7.
I think Trent will be 7. Yeah, I think Trent will be 7. Robertson maybe 6.
Yeah, Robbo and
somewhere
Van
close to that.
Dijk probably the same.
Van Dijk will probably be 5.5. I don't think he'll be higher than that.
Robbo could be the same. 5.5 for Robbo because of his injury
Yeah, that could
as
be
well.
great. That could be great. That would be great.
Especially if he's still on 50% of set pieces, which we've seen. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what the new Liverpool manager does. Because again, set pieces at Liverpool, we've under Klopp in the last year or two, we haven't seen Trent on every corner and every free kick. Szoboszlai, Robertson, Elliott, I think, takes some when he's on the pitch. But again, new manager might just go, Trent, you're on absolutely everything. If Trent's on corners from both sides and every free kick, which he was once upon a time, again, that adds to his appeal. And again, does he play Trent in midfield? Maybe. Let's see. And does Bradley play at right back? And what price will Bradley be? If he's it'll be really interesting with new managers coming in to some of the big clubs. Again, let's see if Man United get a new manager and how that influences us. Again, talking of price drops, Man United players. Where should we go to next, big man? What haven't we touched on?
I think we should cover the best differentials to own this week. Let's go fixture by fixture. So I'll start with Arsenal Everton. We've already sort of spoken about Havertz. I think Odegaard would be a nice one as well. Maybe Ben White if you don't own. I think all these guys could potentially do well. Then there's Brentford Newcastle. I don't think I'd touch this fixture. Let's talk about Newcastle. Actually,
Tony's last game, maybe for romantic choice.
Where do you think he goes if he leaves?
I don't know. Dean was very big sort of a few months back with the Arsenal links. He said that's completely died down now. Chelsea are potentially a suitor who will pay that sort of money. Man United have been linked, but yeah, Arsenal are out the race now. Don't want him.
Yeah, because the thing is that I think in general, a lot of people are they're sort of deciding between their transfers this week. I think you sell your weakest links if you're playing normally. You sell your weakest links, and I think the Newcastle players are sort of part of that weakest link.
I'm selling
category.
Isak. Yeah,
exactly. Because even though the likes of Gordon, Isak have done really well, historically their better performances have been at home, and Brentford are a good defense generally. I mean, at home, especially with the last 6. When you look at the last 6, they're second for XG conceded, so their defensive data has been great. When you look at some of the other fixtures, for example, Spurs, Palace, City, Arsenal, Liverpool even, you can see these teams scoring a lot of goals. I don't think Newcastle exactly fall in that category. I think their ceiling is much lower. So if you have the likes of Gordon or Isak, I think they are sellable or benchable. They fall in that category. I'm personally selling Gordon. I don't think he'll do a lot against Brentford. Sort of curious to hear your thoughts. I assume you agree.
Watching Newcastle the other night, Gordon was superb. He was so good, but he clearly was injured. Like every time the second half, the ref put his board up, the commentators on Sky were like, "Oh, Gordon's going to be off." No, Gordon's still on the pitch. Like, what's going on? He does seem to play through injury a lot, and I would be surprised if he didn't play in game week 38. Remember, he is playing for a place in the England squad still. There's no guarantee by any stretch he gets a call up, which is an absolute farce if he doesn't with a 26-man squad. But Gareth will probably go to Rashford over Gordon, which I think is an horrific decision. But Gordon's got some carrot there. Isak, we know, is just a different level, and again could be playing his last Newcastle game. But to make my transfers work for Salah in, I have to sacrifice a high value player, and that for me is Isak. There's not enough money in Gordon. Given the choice, if I could play one or the other, Isak would probably edge it. But I'm very happy knowing Isak sell enables Salah. I'm very happy just having Gordon. As I said, there was one scenario where I was actually benching both of them. So yeah, I'm perfectly happy with just playing one of them this week, and I don't think it matters too much which one. But for me, Isak just edges it. But if money's an issue, and money's always an issue in FPL, then Gordon's probably the better value because you save a couple of million.
Yeah. Okay, so which brings me to the next question. Do you prefer Salah over an Arsenal mid this week?
Absolutely. I wouldn't have to rip up my team if I wanted a Havertz or a Saka. I'm having to rip up my team a bit. 2 transfers, selling an Isak to get Salah in. I think Salah is clear and away the second best player in the game this week.
You're taking a hit?
No. 2 free transfers. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense then. That makes a lot of sense then, because when I look at my team, and in general, a lot of people are sort of forced to buy Salah, and they either have to take a hit because he's obviously very expensive. I'm personally not going with that option, because let's say Saka plus another player versus Salah plus a fodder, I probably prefer the first combination, where I would rather go with the better balanced combination, if you know what I mean, in my starting 11. Because it's very likely that the second player you buy with Salah, you don't even end up playing. You might even, if you're
he's my first sub. Yeah, it's going to be Munoz unless there's price changes. Sorry, Muniz, Fulham forward 4.4, or it might be a 4.2, 4.3 option like a Cameron Archer or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be a sub option.
Exactly. So that's what I'm trying to get to, is that even though I prefer Salah to Saka in isolation, I would rather go with 2 better players in my starting 11 than just Salah alone with a first sub, which is likely to be irrelevant. I don't really want to use 2 free transfers just to get Salah personally, especially if I'm not captaining.
Mine is, if I go for another option of getting Salah but keeping that Isak style player, I'm only benching them. And that brings me, I guess, to benching dilemmas. Like, a lot of managers will be benching an Isak or a Gordon this week. I won't be, and I'll have Salah in my 11. So I guess my question to you, big man, is who are you benching?
Isak.
You may as well get the money out of him, though.
It's fine. It doesn't matter. It's the last week of the season.
But if you think Salah is better than Saka, you could get the money out of Isak.
The thing is, even though I think Salah is better than Saka, I don't think Petrovic is better than Ortega. I think Ortega is much better than Petrovic. I expect Chelsea to concede. So I would rather have Ortega plus Saka than Salah plus Petrovic, basically.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. We'll see Big Man's team in just a minute. John B says, thank you so much for the amazing tips throughout the FPL season. I appreciate all your insights and strategies you've shared.
Thank you.
John B, that is very kind of you, mate. Thank you. Guys, if you want to show your support, you can hit that like button and you can subscribe. There are a load of lurkers. I see you. If you're lurking, then you can hit those buttons. That would be amazing.
I'd like to especially thank everyone for their support as well. It's been a pleasure to have you. Very, very grateful to have your support over the course of the season. It really means a lot to us. So if you want to show any appreciation for our content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And thank you, Gianni, for being a very gracious host over the course of the season as well. It's been a pleasure doing these videos with you.
Yeah, I've had loads of fun on our Wednesday afternoons, haven't we? I've enjoyed that. It was our
Exactly.
normal
Lots
slot,
of
1 p.m.
banter.
Wednesdays.
Lots of banter as well, back and forth.
I'm just gutted it wasn't really a challenge in terms of who's going to beat who. It started that way. We were level pegging for age. In fact, I think when you first came on, halfway through the
Dude, you
season,
were
I think
leading
I was
for you
above
were
you.
leading
Yeah.
for quite a while. I think you were 20 or 25 points ahead at one stage.
Yeah.
I think
But
it was
then,
Richarlison. It was the Richarlison swing basically
yeah,
when I had
that was
Richarlison
massive.
Newton.
Double
That
Arsenal
sort of
defence and
did it.
Richarlison versus my
Yeah.
none of those options. But yeah, for the last 10 weeks or so, it's just been you. I've only just in the last week beaten my game week 21 rank. My game week 21, I was 44k in the world. And I've not improved on that score since this week. I've only just improved on my game week 21 rank.
Yeah.
Bad.
Because
Bad second half of the season.
since game week 35, we've basically had identical teams. I think there's been one or two differences. But obviously the game week 35 template was so strong that a lot of wildcarders had similar teams. So we've been similar since then.
Yeah, I think so.
One of the listeners in the chat was asking which club do I support.
Oh yeah.
I actually don't support any club. I just love watching the Premier League. I don't have any, let's say, biases that way. I just love the game and I just watching the Premier League. I just support whichever player gives me points. I just support his team. That's the way I am.
Best way, mate. Be completely impartial. Helps the FPL brain, I think.
Just support whoever gives you points.
Jojo says, great work, guys. Currently sat at 7.9k in the world, so hoping I can hang on to top 10k. Yeah, grazie. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the content. Jojo, that's very kind of you, mate. 7.9k is unbelievable. You've got a very good chance of keeping in the top 10k. Animation says, non-FPL question, best Italian player. Well, if you're asking with sort of an FPL Euros outlook, Fede DeMarco, the left wing back, will be gold in the Euros this summer. If Italy do well, he's the best left back in the world. Simple as, in my opinion. Along maybe with Theo Hernandez, also based in Italy. The Frenchman. Ziad, this game week, I get into the 1K club. Amazing. 739 overall rank. Ziad, you're a long-time watcher and listener. Thank you for supporting CGA. But wow, you should be giving us the tips. That's unbelievable. Yeah, DeMarco isn't really a fullback. No, but he's listed as a defender and he plays left wing back. Italy will be a 3-5-2, by the way, under Spalletti. Should we see your team, big man? Let's see how you're shaping up. Let's see your.
Just before we get to that, we were discussing the differentials.
Of course we were.
Going through them fixture by fixture. Brighton versus Man United. I think maybe João Pedro, to a certain extent, if he starts, could do well.
Yeah,
I do expect him to start now that he's played. And I can see Brighton probably winning that fixture. I don't think I'd recommend anyone from Man United. Burnley, Forest, any takers? I don't think this will be a high-scoring game, personally. It doesn't seem that kind of game with a high ceiling, especially because Forest are away.
Burnley and Luton, I think, will both win this weekend because they're playing home games against teams with nothing to play for. I think we could see it, but again, I'm not saying go pick a Burnley. Maybe a punt on a Adebayo or a Morris, if at Luton more so than Burnley. But yeah.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Chelsea, Bournemouth, I think Nkunku, maybe if he starts, could be one.
Yeah, definitely.
Apart from that, I don't see anyone as such.
Jackson as differential captain, Jackson or Palmer?
I mean, I don't think so. As mentioned earlier, I think Haaland, Salah, and then the rest in that order. Yeah. Apart from that, no one really stands out. Palace, we've already covered. I think all three are fine. All three attacking options. Liverpool, Wolves, Trent. I really like Trent. I think he's the best defender in terms of upside this week. As a differential, I think he could go big. Salah, we've already covered. Hakpo, you'd expect him to start over Nunes? I don't think Darwin will start, right?
No, after removing all the Liverpool posts and stuff, I think there's probably been a bit of a fallout with Klopp. Gakpo definitely.
And Gakpo played well against Villa, didn't he? Right?
Scored.
So he should start.
He won't get 90, but that doesn't necessarily, like Trossard, Gakpo won't get 90, but they should both start.
Yeah. Luton, Fulham, I don't think I'd go there. City, West Ham, maybe De Bruyne, your boy De Bruyne. You've been a huge fanboy of him this season. Are you not entertaining any thoughts of going there?
I could go De Bruyne instead of Salah, but I just
Yeah,
rank Salah higher. That is, I've got
agree.
four options, and option 4 is Bruno in instead of Salah. But I'm going to go with option Salah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. Sheffield United Spurs, I think Brent Johnson. I
yeah,
think he
it's a
was
great pick.
robbed
You've
of
been
a
unlucky.
15 pointer. I
Yeah,
was robbed of a 15 pointer this week, like legit. He missed an open goal versus
in the
Burnley.
first
Then
game.
then in the first game, exactly. And then in the second game that he had Son scored, that would have been an assist and a Guardiola clean sheet vibe. I mean, that's effectively the difference between me and the top 10K. I mean, I would have been much, much closer
Yeah.
to the top 10K had that gone in. But I mean, these things happen. I'm still expecting high score from Brent. So if you don't have him, I think I actually rate him higher than the Palace guys. I mean, I rate
Edison
him that
could have
high.
got bonus points if that goal goes in as well. By the way, even more points for you because
Don't rub it in,
yeah,
Jenny.
yeah, I know. Edison was because he had
Don't
3
rub it in.
saves, he'd had the passes. Edison's BPS was quite good in that game. Yeah, I'm with you there with the Spurs. I wonder if I don't know, a Kulusevski could be a bit of a rogue shout, but yeah, he's got to start first. We've got a super chat from Kay, 5 points off 100K. At the moment, he's benching Bruno. I would suggest you've got it right benching Bruno. It's between Bruno and Isak over who to bench. I'd be tempted to go with what you sit with what you're on. You could very easily, off 5 points, get into top 100K. I don't think you need to make any rogue shouts.
I would definitely bench Bruno. I mean, actually, Isak and Bruno is close.
Is a close one.
That's actually very close. I think I'd still play Isak though. I'd still play Isak. Haaland, yeah, Haaland is the best choice as mentioned earlier. The team is great. I mean, you should be good for the top 100K with that team for sure. Great team.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, thank you for your questions. We'll get to some in a sec. We'll see Bigman's team now. And guys, also shout out to all the mods this season. Loads of the mods are in, off court especially today. The likes of CH as well. Always good having the mods support us. Goalkeeper transfer, big man. You didn't think you'd be making one of those, but you're not overly happy with just putting Petrovic in. You think you'll go Edison to Ortega?
Yeah, Gianni, I had exact cash to do Gordon to Saka, and I basically have nothing better to do in my team.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of happy that this injury has sort of given me an excuse to make use of my transfer, because my transfer otherwise would have been wasted had I used it on one of the substitutes, or I can't carry it into next season. I wish I had that option, but I mean, I guess I'll just get Ortega because City have, after Arsenal, the best clean sheet odds, close to 50%. And Gordon to Saka, I think picks itself. I don't think I need the bench as such because I'm not expecting heavy rotation. So the team looks good on paper. I think it should be good for Green, hopefully.
Brennan Johnson could be big for you because he is your differential there. Benching Isak is risky. You wouldn't be tempted Isak over Brennan to start?
No, not at all. I think Johnson is really, really good.
You
this
feel
weekend.
owed, though. That's the problem. You've got to forget what happened in the double last week.
It's not about the double. It's about the fixture this week. And I expect it to be like a 3-3, 4-2 kind of game. That's why, I mean, I just think Spurs will score more goals than Newcastle.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think the bench is sorted. It's not even remotely close to being a bench headache. No, I think it's sorted. I mean, I guess I can, if I wasn't making these moves, I guess an alternative could be that I can maybe get, Trent for White or sell Isak to Pedro. But again, I would rather go with Saka and Ortega as such because White is a good pick anyway. I mean, I won't be surprised if he did well against Everton. So I just don't really think there's a urgent need to sort of make room for Trent, especially when I have a good defense with Gabriel, White and Porro.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't see Chelsea keeping a clean sheet either, by the way. So, whilst I'm starting Cucurella, I think you've got a very good upgrade there with Ortega. Would you start a Cucurella or a Dan Burn if you had a Chelsea defender?
That's tricky. I think I'd still lean with Cucurella, though. I mean,
yeah, I am.
Just the home fixture sort of swings it for me, even though I expect him to concede. And he does have a bit of threat as well. We've seen that in recent times.
Yeah, exactly. Assist at the weekend against Brighton at midweek. Good, you look really well set, mate. I guess it's just any surprising team news now. Remember, all games kicking off at the same time. Deadline is 2:30. We will get team news definitely for Man City and Liverpool, likely Arsenal. Chelsea usually good value for a leak or two. So yeah, it'll be really interesting. But looking at your team, big man, I can't see any surprises because your players are players with something to play for pretty much. So yeah, like me, I don't think we're going to see too many surprise benchings in our teams. Usually going into game week 38, I say make sure you've got a good first sub in place because there's a very good chance you'll need them because we get managers playing the kids or giving someone their last game because he's leaving in the summer. But for the players that are highly owned at the moment, which is players in our teams, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case that they're at risk.
I agree.
Guys, get your questions in. We want to answer as many as we can. In terms of what I'm doing, Big Man, we'll keep your team on screen just to show you kind of what I'm doing loosely. So I'm looking at a similar sort of shape to you. At the back will have Cucurella, Porro, and Gabriel. So I won't have double Arsenal defence, and I will have Petrovic in goal. I will have Vicario
Petrovic,
in goal. No, Vicario.
Vicario.
Yeah.
We have Vicario. That's fine.
Who I think will probably concede. But in midfield, my thinking is instead of Brennan Johnson, I will have the same midfield as you, but I'll have Salah. So I'm hoping my
you have Saka though. You have Saka.
No, Salah.
You have Salah
no,
over.
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Two differences, right?
Yeah. So sorry, you'll have Gordon and Saka. Sorry, you'll have Brennan and Saka, and I will have Gordon and Salah.
All right. So you'll be playing Gordon.
Yeah. And I won't have Isak first sub. I will have some waste man at 4.3 million.
I mean, 4.3, yeah. I mean, I was going to say you can go with João Pedro and play him over Gordon.
No.
I think that's
can't get to Mateta, can't get João. I can get Muniz at Fulham at the moment, but if there's a single price change, I can't. So it'll be like a Cameron Archer, who is starting games, Cameron Archer. And against
but surely you wait for leaks. Surely you wait for leaks.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I can't make that move now because there's too many potential unknowns. So I've got to wait till Sunday to make my transfers.
That's fine. I think you're well sorted.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, there we go. Guys, want to answer your questions, so get them in. British87 says you want Porro over the goal machine Gvardiol. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, don't know about Porro. Do you expect a Spurs clean sheet, big man? Because I don't think I do.
I don't at all. I mean, I'm owning Porro for his goal, not for his clean sheet.
I'm owning Vicario for his penalty save that I really wanted him to get versus Haaland.
Spurs have been given around a 25% chance of a clean sheet this week by the bookmakers, which is very, very low.
Yeah, but even that feels generous. Like I'd rate them up to 15, 20.
Wow.
Not that bad.
They're playing Sheffield. I mean, considering the fixture, it's very low, keeping the fixture in mind.
True. It's more just the narrative of Sheffield United last day in front of the home fans, go out and score a goal for the team, the fans that have been supporting you all season. Maybe.
Yep, exactly. Bench Porro, Guardiola, definitely bench Porro. I mean, Guardiola has to play.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'd be very happy benching Porro this week, guys.
Yeah.
FPL Mac and bench 2. Ooh. Well, you can bench Van de Ven.
I'd bench Dalot and Chalobah from those.
I'd bench Van de Ven and Dalot. I'd start... Chalobah's at home. I'd back the home guy.
Lucas is asking 3 points of top 10K. We'll buy... Bruno, shall I risk going against Haaland captaincy? No, 3 points is nothing. As mentioned earlier, if 3 points is negligible. I mean, you have a good team, and with this team, you don't have to go out of the way to captain someone else. Kelvin is asking, owning Salah as a differential, is it enough to catch Premier League leader of 10 points? Should I captain him? It depends on the differences that you have, but I assume it should be enough. I assume it should be enough for you to do it without actually having to captain him.
Couple of seasons ago, big man, when I was playing just for mini league success, I took a 16-point hit to make sure Toby, who was below me in my mini league I cared about, it was like 10 points below me. I bought every single player that could do damage to make our teams identical, and then a minus 16-point hit. No, sorry, it was like 20 points below me, and it paid off. It was beautiful.
Lewis Robson is asking, I'm 6 points off my mini league doing Gordon to Elixir for free. Do I do 8 Nuri to Trent or Bruno to Salah? This is tricky. Or just play Bruno. I would just play Bruno, to be very honest. I don't think it's worth it at this stage of the season.
You're already going Gordon to Elise for free, so I just make the one transfer. As Bigman says, you've got to be really careful hits in 38. David's debating. Go on.
Just pick one transfer, which you think has to be the one of the highest priority, and just do that. I don't think you should be taking any hits. There's barely any time left for it to pay off. David is asking, debating selling Son. They're giving me top silver. Can go either Bruno or Son to Son. I would definitely sell Bruno. I won't entertain any thoughts of selling Son personally.
I was looking at selling Son to get Salah earlier in the week, but Bruno definitely I would rank as a higher priority sell. Animation says bench Arsenal defender for Oro. Absolutely not. Arsenal defense. No, you don't need to spread them, animations. They're the best defense in the league.
No chance at all. No chance at all.
You wrote, bench Porro, Gusto, or Isak.
Gusto.
I'd go Porro. But definitely not Isak. I've no Arsenal. Is it worth the risk? Ziad, you're in the top 1,000.
Yeah, Saka, I mean, it depends on who you're selling.
Your rank.
Exactly. If you're selling a midfielder, someone like Gordon, then Gordon to Saka is a good turn.
Or Bruno, if you've got him to Saka.
Exactly. Bruno as well. I mean, I mentioned weak links and I mentioned Newcastle as part of that category. Manchester United also fit that category because a lot of people have the United guys and I don't expect them to do that well. Do I take a -4 to sell Gordon instead of...
If you really want to captain Salah, and the only way of getting Salah in is for a 4-point hit, it's absolutely fine to take the hit if you're going to captain him. I always say that with hits. But genuinely, I don't think you need to, Mackham. Like, Gordon, I wouldn't want to sell the likes of Foden and Gordon. It depends how badly you want Salah, I guess.
I mean, I'm sort of wondering where the funds are because even if he sort of has to take a hit to bring in Salah and he doesn't have Haaland, where are the funds? I mean, I assume he has Arsenal players. In that case, you can. But then he's mentioning that he doesn't have Havertz. So where are the funds?
Guys, just to reiterate, whoever you think is the best captaincy option this week, get them in your team for a -4. Like, if you have someone you go, I really want to get Havertz or Salah and captain them, then do what you need to do.
Yes, but I mean, hypothetically, that idea is correct. But I mean, if it involves selling someone like a Foden, then it's not something I would recommend, right?
No, I mean, I would recommend captaining Haaland, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But if you feel there that you need to bring in a Salah to captain him, you rip up your team for it. Captaincy is so huge. Go. This is game week 38 approach.
Wides. We go with wides this week.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a random week, so I hear you. I mean, it's a random week where the outcomes will be random. And even if it sort of goes wrong, you sort of won't have to live with the decision for more than a week. So
last season, I remember everyone going Kane captain because he played. Who did he play?
He played Leeds.
That was it, and Leeds with that. So, and I was like, I was chasing. I was like, I don't care if I finished 50k or 70k, whatever it was. And yeah, I went Gabby Jesus captain. Like, and it didn't quite match Kane, but it was fun, and he did score points.
A lot of people went Salah. I remember I went with Salah.
It was Salah or Kane, wasn't it? Yeah.
And Salah got an assist, if I'm not mistaken. He missed loads of chances.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm all up for a Hail Mary captaincy in 38. If you think that player's getting the most points, and I thought Gabby Jesus was going to outscore Salah and Kane. It wasn't. I went Gabby Jesus for the sake of it. So again, don't go differential for going differential sake. Go differential if you believe that player's going to get more points, because we don't always do that. Sometimes we go, I actually think Salah will outscore Haaland, but I'm going to go Haaland because he's so mass owned and I'm really scared of going against him. In game week 38, you can afford to take that gamble. More questions, please. Thank you, Mackham. Edison and Gordon. One free transfer, top million. Should I take a -4 or take it in Saka? Ooh. I would just make one free transfer. I'd leave and just go Gordon to Saka and leave Edison depending on your backup keeper.
I agree. Gordon to Saka is more of a priority. Get Elise or Havertz. I prefer Havertz.
That is a coin toss for me, that one.
Marginally.
That is a hard one. I do think Elise is a sensational option this week. I'd probably rank him maybe slightly ahead. Start Awani or Mateta. Awani's away, so I'd go Mateta.
I agree. Alien is asking 18 points away from number one in my mini league with one transfer. What would you recommend? Captaining Palmer, Isak over Holland?
18 is a big gap. You probably do need to go different for 18 if they're going to captain
For,
Holland.
yes, but again, if his rival owns Palmer or Isak, it won't make much of a difference. What you need in an 18-point to cover 18-point lead or anything sizable is to increase variance by captaining a player which he doesn't own.
Yeah.
So try captaining a player which he doesn't own. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, good advice, big man. I like that.
Zubin is asking what percentage of managers in the top 50k do you reckon would take a
5%.
Very, very low.
It'll be low.
Very low
What do you reckon,
percentage.
big man? 5-10%? It'll be low.
Yeah, I don't even think 10%.
No,
I mean,
5,
I agree
yeah.
with somewhere close to 5. Yeah, Gross or Johnson as my fifth mid. Johnson, by far.
Yeah, I wouldn't be looking at Pascal Gross in recent weeks. He's just got in the Germany squad, by the way, which is pretty cool. He's never really been an international player, but yeah, he's not doing it in FPL. Brighton aren't scoring enough goals. Do I swap Darwin to Gakpo? Wait for team leaks, but yes. I think that very unlikely Darwin's going to start.
Yeah.
You will get bench minutes, but I don't think that really matters.
Agree.
Oh, I've just seen the time. We'll do last question from Lewis. Start one, Isak or Bruno? We will start by
Isak.
Yeah, we said that earlier.
Yeah, we've already addressed it. Yep.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Likes and subscribes welcome. Me and Dean are back tomorrow morning at this time. So at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So in an hour's time from now, I'm going to be live on my channel at 10 tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to try and blackmail all my audience to come over to CGA and we'll see you at 11. That's the plan. So 10 a.m. my channel, 11 a.m. CGA tomorrow morning, guys, if you fancy it. Big man, it's been amazing streaming with you this season. I've had so much fun on our Wednesdays.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we'll be back again next season. Are you doing any content over the Euros? What are the plans?
I'm not sure. I know CGA, the producers on Chasing Green Arrows, are thinking about that. So I am hopeful that there might be some content. I don't think I'm going to do anything personally on my channel, but I am very excited for the Euros, and I definitely will be playing, which is fun. I've never actually played the official UEFA game. I've always played Fan Team. I'll probably do both this summer. I'm excited for the Euros.
Same here. Very, very excited. I will be doing some content for the Euros as well. I always do. I have a lot of fun playing the game.
Yeah. Make sure you get DeMarco in your team. I don't even know what price he is, but DeMarco, Italy.
I support Italy, so I mean, you don't need to give me any other reason to buy him. I like Italy, generally.
Nice. I will be looking out for your threads on Twitter, mate. Guys, thank you all for watching as always. I will see you tomorrow morning, and you'll see Big Man very soon. But for now, he's been Big Man, I've been Janny, and we've been chasing green arrows. See you later.